The brothers.
Okay, guys, we invented a time machine. We did it out of a Sega Dreamcast.
This is incredible. You're not
because the
gonna
way
believe
we
this.
figure it, if you're going to build a time machine, why not do it with style?
That's right.
Yeah. The Dreamcast logo, that is actually a time portal. Yeah. Like, who knew?
The swirly thing, that's how you travel through time. That's how Austin Powers did it.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure there's a flux capacitor that had swirls in it.
The Dreamcast has a built-in flux capacitor. Little known fact.
Okay.
Anyway, we just got back from the future. You're not going to believe what we discovered. We now know what's going to happen with all the coronavirus and everything else. So what did we discover, Phil?
Everything's fine.
Yeah. Dude, life, we only went ahead 4 months. Life could not be more normal.
Everything is normal. Stock market's back up again.
Everything is so normal.
Toilet paper's on the shelves.
Yeah. Dude, calm down, everyone.
It's fine.
Everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, little known fact, the Dreamcast is also a time machine. It also plays a bunch of mediocre games if you have some of those. But
way to go, Sega.
Yeah, really knocks it out of the park.
Good call.
With skateboarding and sports games. What's our topic today?
Our topic is top Super Nintendo games that don't quite fall in the top 10 list. So everybody does a top 10 list, right? Everyone has them. And
we don't want to be like everybody.
We're not like everybody. So we're going to do top games that are they're really good, but they don't quite make the top 10.
This close.
And it's Super Nintendo because it's the best system of all time.
Yes, it is. Let's get this out of the way.
Yeah, we don't need the time machine anymore. Okay, number one, well, these aren't in any order. This is just the game that's laying on top. Is Super Castlevania 4. So why don't you tell us why this is such a great game?
Konami took everything that they did right in the first 3 Castlevania games on the NES, and they blended it into this gem right here. I mean, the controls are perfect. The sound and the music just sounds like it's so special. It's just so special. The mechanic of using your whip. There was no weird day-night stuff that went on in Castlevania 2.
I hated that so much.
Man, everybody hated that. The difficulty in this game is just perfect. You can breeze through the first 10 levels in this game. Most people can. And after that, it starts getting harder and harder and harder. But at no point do you just throw your control down and go, oh, this is just not fair. It's not fair. This is a fair game. And password system. There's no battery backup saves in this game. It's all on passwords, just like a lot of NES games. So in 2020, you can play any level. Just go to Google and just type Castlevania 4 passwords. You can play any level you want to immediately. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's not my favorite Castlevania game. I think Symphony of the Night takes that crown for me personally. But it's probably my second favorite.
Okay.
Yeah, really, really love this game. Yeah. Not quite top 10 for me. It makes a lot of top 10 lists. For me, close.
Yeah, not top 10 material.
Not top 10.
Still a great game. Okay.
What's next?
The original and still the not top 10 Super Mario Kart. So what makes this game so great?
Well, I mean, it was the first of its kind.
Yeah.
I remember seeing a commercial for this. This is my memory as a kid. Seeing a commercial for this, I was probably 12 or 13 years old when it came out. And it was the first game, at least that I was aware of, where they slapped Mario into another genre. Because every Mario game that I had ever known had been Mario 1, 2, 3, Mario World. And
Mario had shown up in other games, but he was like the referee in Punch-Out, or, he wasn't the star of the game. Right. He was just kind of there. But this was like, he's in the title of this game.
And when I saw that commercial, my eyes rolled in the back of my head, and I went, oh, great. Here goes Nintendo. They're just Disneyfying their stuff, just like, you stick Mickey Mouse on everything. That's what Disney did. And I thought that's what Nintendo was doing. I thought they're just making a racing game, and they don't have to make it good because they're just going to stick Mario on it, and it's going to sell. Which is probably true. They didn't have to make it good, and it would have sold because it had Mario on it. That's what every other company had done up in my lifetime that I had been aware of. But Nintendo decided that they were going to craft a amazing kart racing game with these mechanics where you could get items and then shoot other drivers on the
Yeah,
road,
I know.
multiplayer. I mean, it's only 2-player, but still. Battle mode, I mean, it was incredible. It blew me away.
How sweet would it have been if you could do 4 players on
Oh,
this?
man.
And why haven't they like come out with an updated version where you can? Wouldn't that be cool? You can do that on Switch.
I would love that so much.
Yeah, anyway,
I really like this game. This game gets a lot of crap today, and I don't understand why. It's completely unjustified. It's an incredible Mario Kart game.
I love this game. I love the tracks on this game. They're some of my favorite tracks of any Mario Kart. Modern Mario Kart games like Mario Kart 8, the tracks just all feel like they're missing something. They feel a little too contrived and a little too predictable,
Yep.
and the shortcuts are
Modern Mario Kart games are designed for the lowest common denominator. In other words, an 8-year-old can pick up that controller and they can beat you without, even if they've never played before.
Yeah.
They could beat a seasoned player. If you are a seasoned Mario Kart player, you have a 0% chance of losing to someone who's never played before. You will win every single race. If they held a Mario Kart 8 tournament, do you think the best Mario Kart 8 player would actually win?
the luckiest. would
Maybe.
win.
Yeah, but ultimately, luck.
Yeah, whoever gets the most blue turtle shells on the final lap or whatever. Blue turtle shells in this game didn't exist.
No.
Lightning bolts existed, but they were extremely rare. And nowadays, as soon as you're in last place, they just hand out lightning bolts like they're candy. Dude, you could be in last place in this and play for hours and never see a lightning bolt.
There's so much great strategy in this game. I mean,
Yeah.
there's that one level, I think it's the last track in the first set of levels, like Mushroom Cup, where there's that jump over the other road.
Right.
Now, if you're in last place, or if you're just trying to catch up to first place and you get a lightning bolt, the trick is wait until the opponent who's ahead of you is just about to go on that jump and then use your lightning bolt. And then what happens to them?
Yeah.
They fall into the road in the middle and it derails them by a half of a lap.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many great strategies in this game, and modern Mario Kart games don't have any of that.
I would do the same thing in Wario Stadium in Kart 64.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
when you jump over the track.
Yeah,
Of course.
that was good fun. But yeah, I love it a lot. The things that hold it back from not being top 10, I think, are only being 2-player, which you can't really fault the Super Nintendo because they only had 2 controllers. But in 2020, we're kind of used to everything being 4 players. I love the music too. Music in this game is great.
It's going through my head right now.
Great music.
I know.
Yeah.
What's next?
What's next? Donkey Kong Country 2.
So this is where we had a little disagreement. Personally, for me, Donkey Kong Country 1 is a better game.
I think 2 is a better game, but I'm not gonna die on that hill. I mean, I love 1 a lot. I appreciate the level design in 2 a little better. The way you use her hair gives you a lot of mechanics, and I really love this game. It's very challenging, but it's doable. And I've been all the way through this game. I've beat it.
It is a challenge.
It's very challenging, but it's not like throw the controller out the window challenging. It's like, okay, one more try, I got this kind of thing. And I love this game. The pacing is great. It gets more difficult at a really good rate. And it's my favorite Donkey Kong Country game. I can't say enough good things about this game. This might even be a top 10 game for me. It's just not for Phil.
Not for me.
But we'll compromise.
We don't disagree often, so
Yeah.
write this down.
Yeah. Great game.
Okay.
Great game. What's next? Okay. The next is Rockman X, also known as Mega Man X.
True.
In Japan, they called it Rockman. I don't know. That's kind of a cool name. Why didn't that stick over here?
Maybe there's a copyright issue. I know
Yeah, that
there's
could have
another
been.
rock.
Yeah,
That happens sometimes.
That could have been it. I don't know my history on that. I'm sure there's a good reason. What's your history on this game?
So we picked up this game for the Super Nintendo, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, right when it came out.
Right when it came out, the reviews were all good, and I hadn't played a Mega Man, I don't think, since Mega Man 4 at that point, or maybe even 3. And
We had 4.
We had 4?
Yeah.
Okay, well, and I didn't play 5 or 6.
I didn't either. They'd kind of gotten stale.
They got
on the
they got
NES.
stale, but this game introduced these new mechanics where you could jump, and if you didn't quite make the jump, you just grabbed onto the ledge
I
and then
love
just
that.
hoisted yourself
Yeah.
up. Oh man, it just opened up the whole game. For
That
me.
wall jump that you
Yeah.
can do.
Oh, it was so fun.
Yeah, it was a game changer for sure. I like this game a lot. It's my favorite Mega Man game of all time.
Mine too.
To be fair, I don't think I've played X2 or X3.
I haven't.
They're not on any classic system, and they're super expensive, and I have yet to find them at a garage sale. So until I do, I haven't played them. But I've played this a lot. It's super fun. The graphics are great. The music is awesome. I love the music.
Good.
It's that mid 90s, really kind of upbeat, high tempo, techno, Super Nintendo. I can't really explain it better than that. I love the music in this game.
Well, I mean, one of the things that I just really love about the Super Nintendo, like we talked about with Castlevania 4, it's like they just went back and they looked at everything great. Capcom looked at everything that they had done great in the first 6 Mega Man games, and they brought it all into this one and then made it even better because they could just do more with the Super Nintendo. The music sounds better, graphics look better.
The weapons are better. The next game on our list is SimCity. So, what's your experience with SimCity?
You know, SimCity, my experience is that the first computer that we had in our house, we had SimCity on it.
Yep.
And this, I probably played it around 89 or 90. And I got really addicted to it really quickly. I loved it. But we've talked about this before. With our family, the computer was always in Dad's office. And like, you just didn't have unlimited playtime with that machine. And, you know, with 3 kids in the house, it was like, even when there was access to it, you had to split that with 2 other people.
I mean, in 1989, most households were a 1 computer per house at most. A lot of people didn't have any computers, but at most you had 1 computer per household.
So when this came out on the Super Nintendo, we picked it up very soon after it came out because it was one of the first games we had on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
And they added music, which I don't remember the PC one having music. I just don't remember.
I don't think it did.
I don't think it did. The music in this game, done by the same person, by the way, who did the music in Super Mario Kart.
The same composer, yes.
Yes.
And, I love the music. I will say that it is a lot easier using a mouse and a keyboard than a Super Nintendo controller playing this game.
Yeah.
I mean, to drag that cursor around with your D-pad on the Super Nintendo controller, it's not optimal, but I still like it a lot. I put a ton of time into this. If nothing else, I just built a big city and then just had Bowser destroy it, and it was just fun to watch. I don't know.
It was so much fun. And, you know, it's one of these games where it's one of the first games I remember playing where I don't want to call it a stress-free game, but like you couldn't die. You couldn't fall down a pit. You weren't fighting. You didn't have an energy bar. So this is the first game I ever played where you can't die. There's no energy bar. And while I do enjoy those kind of games, there is something to be said to just pop in a game and just not have that stress factor always in your mind.
Yeah.
What do we got here?
Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
So this is before zombies were a cool hipster thing to like.
Way before.
This is way before. I mean, mid 90s. There weren't a whole lot of like zombie material out there. I mean, I'm sure there were cheesy horror movies, but it's not what it is today. In this game, you're just going around a neighborhood and you're just killing zombies. And it's a lot of fun. The control is really tight. I mean, it's a Konami game. Konami, you have that extra level of quality.
There's polish there.
Yeah, Konami, they took it seriously. They didn't just shovel out a bunch of crap. And it's just a fun game. I like I mean, just the logo on it with that sort of scream and that kind of terrifying. It's fun. I love the cheesiness. The game doesn't take itself seriously. It has fun with the fact that this is kind of silly, and it's a lot of fun to play. I don't know.
It's a very fun game. I will say that when it came out, and it always just looked kind of corny to me.
But that's kind of what it's supposed to be.
I get that now. Yeah. But when that came out, I didn't play it back in the day. I mean, we never owned it. I think you borrowed it from Scott.
Yeah, I borrowed it and I played it.
And I never played it back in the day because I just thought it just looked silly to me. I never cared for the title, Zombies Ate My Neighbors. The whole thing just sounded corny and silly, but again, that is part of the charm. I get that now, and I enjoy the game now, I really do. Yeah. But I never played it when it came out. So.
There you go.
Not top 10.
Not top 10.
Close.
Pretty good. The last game that we have is Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
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 If you didn't live through the street fighting genre of games in the early 90s, you haven't lived. I mean, you go to the arcade, and it's like you're looking for the Street Fighter 2 cabinet. All you got to do is look for the lineup of about 12 dudes between the ages of 11 and 14. I mean,
Yep.
it was incredible. It took over everything. And then the game came out on home consoles, and life couldn't be better until the Turbo came out. And it was like, are you kidding me? My mind was blown.
Yeah. So the original Street Fighter 2 only had 8 playable characters, I believe.
I think so.
And then, but you fight more characters. You fight M. Bison and Balrog and Vega and Sagat, right? The last 4 guys.
Mm-hmm.
But you couldn't play as those. And there were all these rumors that there were these boss codes where you can play as these bosses. But they were just rumors.
No.
Those codes didn't exist. But then they gave us Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and you can play as all of those bosses.
As long as you push down or up LYB on the... No? What does down or up LYB do?
We talked about this.
Did we?
It's player versus player, so you can both choose the same
Oh,
player.
that's right. That's right.
But you could be M. Bison in this game. I remember playing Street Fighter 2 in the arcade, and so the arcade games would go through different versions as they would correct errors or correct certain things they didn't. Nowadays, everything is just updated over the internet and you don't even think about it.
They just patch it.
But back then, they would like send out new boards to these, or at least new chips to these arcade places and say, okay, we have an update on this game. So one of the earlier Street Fighters in the arcade, you could choose M. Bison and you could do that slide thing. I think it's
There's
down.
no defense for that.
There was no defense for that. You could just do it over and over and over again, and your opponent could never get up.
It just broke the game.
It broke the game. I remember being at an arcade, and there was an unwritten rule among all the players there that if you pick M. Bison, you cannot do that move over and over again.
I remember
You can
that.
do it sporadically, you do it once as part of a combo
like
or
once
something.
per round,
Yeah.
you're sort of allowed
But
to.
if you started doing that more, people would just be like, dude, no, that's not cool. Like, we're not going to play with you. I mean, it was serious. It was serious stuff back then. They fixed that bug on Super Nintendo. You can't just do it over and over and over
By the
again.
time the first Street Fighter 2 came out on Super Nintendo, I want to say that the Turbo version was already in the arcade. So you go to the arcade, and if you don't know the difference, the Turbo version is just much faster.
Yeah.
It's almost like the first version is in slow-mo. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really slow.
Yeah.
And that was our experience on the Super Nintendo. But we didn't have to wait long before the Turbo game came out on the Super Nintendo.
Yes.
And this was all anybody ever did for months. All we did was play Street Fighter 2
Yeah.
Turbo. That's all you talked about at school.
And I got to be honest, my interest in fighting games really burned hot and fast and was over with pretty quickly. But even by the time Killer Instinct came out, I got to be honest, I had no interest in Killer Instinct.
I didn't either.
I was just kind of like, dude, I'm done with fighting games. I had moved on to RPGs at that point. I was playing Final Fantasies on Super Nintendo and Chrono Trigger, and I was just like, yes, this is what I want to play now. And I just wasn't into fighting games anymore. And to this day, every time a new Smash Brothers game comes out, I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I'm sure it's okay. I'm just not. It's not my thing anymore.
It's not my thing either. And look, a game like this, you could play against a computer, which was like, computer always cheated. They just did.
Dude, we're not joking. They literally cheated. When we say cheat, what we mean is that the computer opponent would do things that you cannot physically do,
Yes.
even if you wanted to, even if you were the best player in the world. Like, you just can't do that.
Yeah.
And they did it all the time, and that was their difficulty meter.
Which is why games like this were so great, because I could play against you.
Yes, and
so
nobody can cheat.
Nobody can cheat. You can't cheat when you're playing against each other.
Yes.
But, that works as a 12-year-old boy, like when we used to share a bedroom and stuff like that. But as you grow apart, you start playing more RPGs, and you just need games that you can just play by yourself, because it wasn't that long later when you and I had jobs and school and moving out and stuff like that. We're like, there's no way I could find time to sit down and play a game like this with you, because you're doing your own thing. So yeah, we discovered RPGs, and we kind of moved on from fighting games. But this holds a very special place in my heart, and it's historic. This game is historic.
I can still do most of the moves in this game. You turn this on right now, and I'm telling you, give me Chun-Li, and I can do her fireball. I can do that kick thing. Ken and Ryu, which are basically
the same.
Yeah. I can do their fireballs, the Shoryuken and the Hadoukens and all that stuff. I still remember all that.
And then, I don't know what they say.
So there you have it. Those are a list of Super Nintendo games. They're not quite top 10, but they're really, really good.
Close. And the coronavirus is pretty much gone in 4 months.
Yeah, so. Congratulations, everybody. You beat this thing. So stop living in fear. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, your Dreamcast is a time machine. You're welcome.
Thank you. I find another Earthbound this year, too.
Oh, you do, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, in middle of May.
Middle of May?
Yep.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but you find Chrono Trigger.
I finally.
Yeah. Well
done. Nice.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that.
You didn't get it on film, though. You're really bad about that.
Dang it.